Hey, what's up, coffee truckers? This is Vince with Green Joe Coffee Truck, and today I am going to be covering branding, coming up with your name for your company, just general branding for your coffee truck, food truck, or whatever the other business that you feel like starting. Here's the deal. This is my 2 cents on this information. You can take it, you can leave it. It's 100% up to you. I'm going to be touching on some legalities. I'm not a lawyer, so if you're interested in getting legal advice, then get a trademark lawyer or something like that. First thing that I think is really important when it comes to names is to look at how people are going to spread word of mouth about you, your searchability of your name, for example. And I think in general that's pretty important. I want to make sure that my name is easy to remember. It's easy to find when I put it into a search engine like Google, or maybe if you're a restaurant, a search engine like Yelp. Keep in mind things like Facebook, Instagram, Amazon. Those are all search engines. They're bringing up products and profiles, but it's still, web pages. And so essentially they are search engines. You enter your keyword into the search engine, Jane Doe, and it brings up a profile of Jane Doe, blah, blah, blah. So searchability is going to be important. And I think there's a couple of barriers that you just want to kind of dance with while you're going through this thing. One of the first ones is looking at, can your name be spelled incorrectly? And there's a couple different ways to do that. For example, does your name have multiple spellings to it, like red? Is it R-E-D, R-E-A-D, right? Whatever. So those are something that you want to look at. Or the other thing I look at is plural. If your name is plural, sometimes people will drop the plural. They're not sure to add the plural, how to add the plural. Maybe your name has double S's, those type of things. So you want to avoid any possibility that when customer A is talking to potential customer B, that the words, the brand name that they're giving to potential customer B is easy to remember and easy to find. And that's something that you're going to want to take and you're going to put it inside like Google, just to see if anyone owns the domain name, number one, right? Number two, throw it in Facebook and see if someone has the page name. Do you have to fight over the page name from some guy that opened it 10 years ago and never did anything with it, right? Instagram is another one. Wherever you feel like you're going to be doing a lot of your marketing or a lot of your your outreach. For those of you that follow my page, YouTube is usually where I like it. And YouTube is a search engine. And so I want to, stick my name inside that search engine and kind of see what the competition is like. Or am I going to have a fight with this name? Because all those things are factors when it comes to picking a name. But I like things that are easy to remember. And the Greeks were really good about this. They started off with, Greek association, right? And the classic example I can give of this is the company Geico. And so we go, what's the mascot of Geico? It's a gecko, right? And so that's so easy to remember. And they did such a great job on kind of branding themselves. You got this gecko that comes out, and every time you think of Geico, you think of this gecko because the gecko is the one that's telling you about the auto insurance. And then when you go to put it in, you're like, gecko insurance, and it'll come up, or you'll remember Geico. And so I just think that those type of associations are very strong, and they work very well in your benefit when it comes time to spreading the word, word of mouth, so to speak. So I really encourage just kind of being mindful of that. So Green Joe is a good example. So Green Joe was the name of my coffee truck, and Green Joe was actually named after a ship, the Giuseppe Verdi. The Giuseppe Verdi was a transatlantic passenger ship that went from Naples, Italy to Ellis Island in the early 1900s before it was sold off to Japan in World War II. That ship was bringing Italian immigrants through Ellis Island, and that's how my great-grandfather got to the country. And I like the concept of that he was chasing his American dream on this vessel, and I'm chasing my American dream on this vessel. So I named Green Joe after the Giuseppe Joe Verdi, Green, after Giuseppe Verdi, in honor of that. And when it came time to paint my truck, I painted it bright green. And again, you see this bright green truck, coffee, which is often called Joe, and now you have an association, Green, Joe, and the truck, the coffee truck, right? And so it's just easy to remember. It's just one less thing that the person has to do in order to ensure you get business, if that makes sense. Cool. So the next big part that I want to talk about is USPTO. USPTO. That's the trademark website. It's uspto.gov. And I have it pulled up right here. And basically, the USPTO is where you're going to be looking up. It's United States Patent and Trademark Office is what that stands for, excuse me. But this is where you're going to be looking up your trademark. Now, remember, the spelling doesn't have to be exact. All that has to happen is you to be confused, your product to be confused for another person's product that holds the trademark for you to get a cease and desist letter. So if your name is, MacDonald and it's spelled MKK for some reason, DON, then and you want to open a burger company, a burger shop in your local town, well, you're going to be going up against trademark war because they're easy to confuse, and that's all that is needed for the legalities of this whole thing. Again, not a lawyer, look it up yourself. But basically, it comes down to is you just have to be confused with this. And how I found this out is there's another Green Joe Coffee out there. Now, for those of you that have kind of searched around, you'll know that there's one in Greensboro, North Carolina. They're wonderful people. If you ever get a chance to stop by there, please do. But we started talking back and forth. We were able to, take care of things amicably. But, things don't always end up like that. And so, they very much could have told me, listen, Green Joe Coffee truck, you can be confused with my product. I'm going to ask you to cease and desist, and they would get it. Obviously I would put up a fight, but what it comes down to is if they hold a trademark and your brand name is confusing the customer, you're done. You're done. So that's really important. You want to get yourself into that USPTO website. Look at the Getting Started with Trademarks page. Start getting a feel for this stuff. You're going to need to know it anyhow if you're getting into entrepreneurship. Just get a general understanding on this. You can hire a lawyer. You're looking at $800, $1,000, something like that to get it all submitted. There's a bunch of stuff in there. There's a lot of. I'm not going to go too deep down this rabbit hole because it can go as far as you want to chase it. But for the most part, you want to make sure that your name isn't going to be confused with someone else's name that's selling a similar product as you are. Okay. Now it's time to pick a domain name. Okay. .com is still the best. Okay. .com is still the best. There was like a .net. Now we have all these new ones. .church. Coffee. This. As far as I know, .com is still the best route to go. And especially when you're still dealing with an older generation who's so used to .com. The younger generation can adapt and pivot pretty quickly when it comes to technology. That's because we've been growing up with it our whole lives and we're able to see that. Some of the older generation still kind of struggles with this type of stuff. And so they may not know how to put in .coffee. They may think it's .coffee.com, right? And so again, it just leads to confusion. If it's .com, there's no confusion. Everyone knows when the website domain ends. www.yourwebsite.com. When you start using these other ones, .coffee, .this, .that, then it's like, well, do I still put in something afterwards? I mean, you and I know that we don't, but is there someone out there that is potentially your customer, wants to give you their money, but they can't because they're putting in .com after the .coffee that you picked? Does that make sense? It just comes down to confusion. Searchability kind of comes back down to this. Let's talk about domain names. So, domain names, generally, if you can get your industry into your domain name, it's going to help you out. Google does look at your domain name as a factor of your SEO. For example, if I'm looking for a CrossFit in Albuquerque, then I bet you CrossFit Albuquerque is going to be one of the top ones that rank because in that domain name, it has both those keywords, CrossFit and Albuquerque, and that's exactly what I'm searching for. So I think things like that are beautiful, but it doesn't always make sense. You kind of want your brand to kind of go with it. So mine is greenjoecoffeetruck.com. And again, that's not to be confused with Green Joe Coffee, the guys in North Carolina. Give me 1 second. Okay, great. So yeah, if you can get part of your industry into your name, into your domain name, then great. City, it's up to you. City can help in the short term, but if you're looking on moving out of your city, or if you're planning on selling the company later on, you might be shooting yourself a little bit in the foot. So I'm kind of weary on the city aspect. just because for me, a lot of my business has grown into a national business. So if I would have done Green Joe Coffee Albuquerque, then, you know, for you folks out there looking at my website, it would have been confusing. So for me, again, I dropped the city and I focus more on the industry, and that way I have those keywords, coffee, inside my domain name when I pick my domain name. Again, with domain names, you want to avoid things like hyphens. If you're at all possible, please, please, please avoid those things. Avoid plural, you know, like Sims or whatever. You know, those are the things that you want to try to avoid when you're picking out your domain name. Again, because it's just going to be confusing for the end user. So those are all aspects that I look at. And then the most final aspect to me, it's just for me personally, I like to have meaning in my names. I do believe that business is an extension of your personality. How you do business is an extension of you. And so, you know, everyone can kind of connect to that. And so that's, I think, the final piece, in my opinion, as far as like building a brand, you know. So those are all aspects that I think will help out, just to kind of go over it. Things that aren't confusing, no misspelling, easy to remember. If you can get any type of association in there, that'll help. Throw that thing into the database, the trademark database at USPTO. Make sure you check your Facebook, your Google, your Instagram, your YouTube, your Yelp, and just see if anyone else is out there messing with that name, you know, because that's going to put up a fight in the long run. And then check if the domain is open, you know. Then if the domain's open, go ahead and get yourself the domain. You can always buy it off of GoDaddy real cheap for, you know, a couple bucks a year. And then as you're working, like for me, I bought the domain name way before I started my business, you know, and so I would encourage that as well if that's the name that you're set on. A little bit of due diligence will help you out on this one. My name is Vincent. I'm with Green Joe Coffee Truck. We teach people how to build coffee trucks. I have an ebook on my website. It's a do-it-yourself guide. 68 pages of how-to videos and just all how much I spent on building the truck out. Everything that I learned along the way went into my ebook and my business plan. The business plan is for sale on the website as well, so if you're looking for financing or something along those lines, that can help out. And the website is greenjoecoffeetruck.com. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff really helps. I'm a big fan of sharing it, especially if you know a barista, maybe they're interested in starting up their own coffee cart, coffee bicycle, you know, farmer's market or something like that. You know, this type of stuff will help them out. I hope you guys do good. I'll talk to you later.